Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Well, we're podcasting. It's not really on the road. It's a little bit more casually today, a little mobile. So if you hear some of these, little tappy taps.
I'm used to better standards than this. I have to hold my own mic, people. Come on.
Yeah, we went ahead and we're doing a little. I don't know if we want to call it impromptu. We were definitely going to record today, but unfortunately a couple of other little projects got in the way, and we're trying to watch some Sunday night football here.
And it's more important than you guys. No, I'm kidding.
Wow,
No,
yeah.
I'm kidding. We just alienate everyone just by mentioning football.
It's good. So, we're basically going to go over some news. We've pretty much completed our notes for part 3 of Dark Tide Ruin. Very exciting part here. I think probably one of the funnest. Well, one of the funnest I've had in a while.
Yeah.
Introduces one very interesting character that's in a lot of other media, continuing on past this series. So we're going to get that recorded here very soon. And then we've got Jedi Fallen Order coming out. And we've got
New book coming out.
Resistance Reborn coming out. So we've got a ton that we're going to be going over. And it might wind up being just a bonus episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to pick 2 days, call off sick from work, and just do nothing but recording for... Well, honestly, we're just going to take 2 days to intake all of the media to record.
Yep, it's going to be busy, and it's only becoming busier as the end of the year slowly, quickly, bigly. Bigly, yeah.
More fastly.
Fastly approaches, and then we're going to hit December, and then we're really going to be all crazy.
Yeah, and the news drought is finally done. It seems like I shouldn't say the past 2 weeks, but before that, it was months of just dead static.
Yeah, it has been pretty light. So again, I thought we'd figure we could just do an entire episode just based on recent news.
Yeah.
So how was your week though?
How was your week?
Wow, it's been busy. It's been pretty busy. End of the year at work is normally busy. So
do anything for Halloween?
No. Yeah. Nope. Halloween is a kids' holiday. It's a holiday for kids.
So you're saying me getting a panda mask and scaring kids makes me a kid?
Exactly. No, seriously. That. I mean, I was never really one much for dressing up anyway and doing that. The Halloween thing. I mean, trick-or-treating's fun, but, it's not really my thing now, and I'm not really going to go to the bar and dress up as, something like that. It's not really my thing anymore, I guess.
It's not going to do the Darth Maul costume.
Yeah, sadly not.
It's okay. I was better at it anyway. Weren't you a member of KISS that year when I did Darth Maul?
I don't remember. I remember there was a KISS, several vampires, and a few other things.
Might have been a vampire the year I did
It's very possible, yeah.
You had a cape either way.
Yeah, maybe. Well, in both instances, I could have had a cape.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, let's pop into these. So we got a fair amount to take a look at. So first,
we're doing the order in which you sent me the links.
I don't remember the order in which I sent you the links. So we're gonna. I don't remember if I even sent you them all. I tried to send. Okay, there's one more before. I actually sent you them technically in reverse order, but there is one I didn't send you. So my bad. But
we're starting with the video.
No, we're going to start with this one here that I didn't send you, but it doesn't really require you to read an article. Okay, so, let's talk a little bit about Ewan McGregor. So, Ewan McGregor, obviously, we have our Kenobi series that is set to start shooting next year, and he's kind of been quoted as saying here lately that he's potentially known about this for 4 years.
I mean, they would have had to contact him pretty early on. All the fans wanted Obi-Wan back from the beginning.
4 years ago. And this is kind of the issue. He's been essentially not lying about it. He says lying, but he's not really been lying. He's just kind of been like, yeah, I'd do it. If it came up, I'd totally do it.
He is under contract, I'm sure, so he really doesn't have much of a choice in the matter. And even if he wasn't, I mean, you don't really want to get all the fans' hopes up if it doesn't end up happening.
Yeah. But it seemed like all of a sudden, oh, we're doing it. But what I think actually happened is I think there were plans to make a movie. And I just...
The backlash hit, and then they kind of changed things a little bit, you think?
No, I mean, for me, I think it was more so to do with... Because basically everything just dropped last year. So I think at the time it was kind of like, we don't know if this is really going to work. Let's maybe visit it later. We're going to do it. And
they might not have had Disney Plus planned at the time. And really, a
Probably
TV show is a
not,
better format for... Because a TV show is way more work to do than a movie when you think about it.
Yeah.
If it's a high-end TV show. So.
For sure. So I find it interesting that he's, they've kind of been in talks that long for this series, and it just makes it interesting. Hopefully we have a lot of good coming out of that. I think Solo, as far as, the fans that actually watched it, mind you, I think they're fine with it, but I think just because of the backlash for Last Jedi, that's what really killed it, because the box office was not up to par. Let's put it that way.
It wasn't kind with Solo either, for that matter.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean for Solo. And I think that because, they were announcing like a Boba Fett standalone, which I thought was dumb. If you want to talk Mandalorians, talk like older Mandalorians.
But the problem is Boba and Jango aren't even Mandalorians, so you wouldn't even you wouldn't even dive into that lore. So. Well,
I mean, Boba Fett was just a clone, so and it's tough. That whole thing is tough. Do I need the adventures of Boba Fett? No.
I think we have enough Boba Fett in the Star Wars universe, and you really don't need much. He's a bounty hunter.
He was never... I mean, it was kind of cool, but he was never like my favorite character, so...
Same with Jango for me. I mean, I feel like
I actually kind of like Jango. In episode 2, I thought it was a cool
but
character.
I didn't really think I needed more of him.
Sure. No, I get that. I get that. That's probably fine. All right. Any more thoughts on that?
I mean, I definitely have a lot of hopes for. If they've planned it for 4 years, I think we're going to get something pretty big. This isn't just a tie-in of any kind. They clearly are really trying to do their best with this. I'm excited.
Okay.
But obviously we know what we want, but what direction do you think they might go if they don't go with PTSD, Obi-Wan?
Oh, I still think that it's more like the continued adventures of Obi-Wan. I mean, he didn't stay on there the entire time, so on Tatooine, that is. So
how much do you think they'll tie in the Clone Wars and Rebels storyline with Obi-Wan? You think we'll get anything from that, or?
I don't see why not. Yeah. I mean, it definitely could be. I mean, the only thing that I think that I want to see is just, the confrontation. Or a confrontation between Obi-Wan and Owen, Lars.
Yeah.
Because I still think that at some point, Obi-Wan would have come to him and said, "Okay, it's time to train the boy."
Him away, or
well,
something.
maybe not take him away, but I mean, I want to train I want to train him in the Jedi way. And I think that's where Owen basically puts his foot down, because the reaction that he had...
Owen can beat Obi-Wan in a fight, so clearly him putting his foot down is... end of discussion.
Metaphorical, I guess. But I mean, I think that that was some of the sort of resistance in episode 4. He's like kind of spoke down to him and
talking trash.
Wasn't really all that much, about Luke going out and see that old space hippie,
Crazy old wizard. You just stay away from him, Luke.
Yeah.
Tend to the moisture for him.
Yes, moisture.
Need more moisture. It's so dry.
Moisturize me. So yeah, like I said,
too far there.
No, it's never that far. Or maybe it is. I don't know.
I think it is. You know what would have helped with those, those burn marks from his skeleton? Some moisture. Would have saved him from those flamethrowers.
I think it would have taken a lot more than moisture at that point. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our next article. And this one is a little bit with Lawrence Kasdan. So, Lawrence Kasdan is done with Star Wars.
He is clearly done with Star Wars by what he said.
Yeah,
not happy.
And I mean, essentially, the whole Solo experience, I think, kind of killed it for him. And a lot of that was just to do with the way it was done, I think. Not so much the story. I think that he basically says the studio screwed this up.
Yeah, and Disney's going to be very controlling. I mean, they've put a lot of money into this, and they want it done a certain way. I get that.
Well, he was given a script, and I think his thing was like, no, I'm supposed to write the script,
kind of my job.
But I can't.
I'm an interpreter. I'm a writer.
Right. I can't blame him. And there was a lot of issues with Solo behind the scenes, changing directors and reshoots and so on and so forth.
They essentially reshot the entire movie, didn't they? Or a good
portion
of it.
They reshot quite a bit, yeah. Because even in some of the deleted scenes, it's like you understand why they're deleted scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there was some alternate sort of stuff that they had in there too. But
there again, they did the same thing with Force Awakens, so I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily just him. I think that's just how Disney does things.
Reshoots happen all the time. Mm-hmm. It's just a lot of the time we don't necessarily hear about them, but reshoots happen all the time. So I'm not super worried when somebody says, "Oh, we're going to have a reshoot." My issue is that Kasdan is from an older school way of doing it. He partnered with George Lucas and did these movies away from a major, controlling kids network like Disney. And now things are different. It's a different way of doing things, and it just doesn't really fit in for him. And I can't blame him. But it does seem like the Solo experience is really kind of the last straw. But there was a documentary on there of him working with his son, because his son was also involved too.
Yep.
And he was like, "Well, that's a really good experience, but that was about it."
Yeah, and they will be working together with Indiana Jones supposedly as well.
Supposedly, yeah. We'll see. I don't even know if I want to watch that, because I feel like they're going to kill off Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford's been pretty adamant that he
wants his character to die.
He's killing his characters.
Continued. Yeah, he doesn't want someone replacing him.
Yeah,
we don't want the actor from Solo becoming the new Indiana Jones for 5 movies.
Yeah,
it could work in a way, but I feel like it'd be kind of a cheap experience at the same time.
Well, a show like Doctor Who, where they can constantly regenerate new doctors, that's a little different. But yeah, I mean, when you take such an iconic character like that was molded by one actor, I think that becomes really hard. Because, again, with Doctor Who, each Doctor Who was different.
You don't get very attached to the Doctor. You know what's going to happen.
Well, I think people do, which is why David Tennant survived as long as he did, and even Matt Smith.
But eventually you're going to have to move on to a new one. With
exactly.
This, Indy was Indy, and you'd never imagine there being a new one.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, that's what we wanted.
What was it? I can't remember his name in that movie, in Crystal Skull.
No, I only watched that movie once. It was so terrible.
I've watched it a few times. I mean, it's not great, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. But yeah, it's not great. It doesn't hold a candle to the other 3 movies, which is why it kind of... They're not talking about Star Wars.
Close enough.
Wow.
Talking old Harrison.
Let's go ahead and run something else here. So, something dark side. Could Kevin Feige's Star Wars film finally bring Dr. Aphra to life?
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to lean on you for this one, because I didn't read the Marvel comics.
Well, see, here's the thing. I haven't read a whole bunch of Dr. Aphra, because by the time I kind of, and again, I am not really a comic book guy, but I've been diving into a lot of it, especially on the second show and everything.
That was kind of when you were taking a break from Star Wars, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much so. And I think they're actually set to end that comic line, but there's a potential for another comic later. But Dr. Aphra is kind of like a
reluctant scientist.
Well, I mean, she's kind of like an archaeologist. She's kind of like an Indiana Jones, except not quite as good. She runs with the Empire here and there, but she's more, I would say, more a little out for herself. Questionable morals, I suppose, is what you could put in there. But a very interesting character, and one that is certainly an alternate to what we generally see in the Star Wars universe. There's a big push right now to get more positive female leads in movies in general. And we've done that a lot in Star Wars, obviously Rey, Leia, and then a whole host of others. You have Ahsoka Tano, who's one of the most popular characters in the universe right now, Star Wars universe. And, there's nothing wrong with that. I think we can definitely use those characters, because at the end of the day, we want young girls and women and young boys and men to, find. You hope to find yourself a little bit in someone.
Find the character you can relate in.
Right. And if your entire cast is all males, then you've eliminated
it's hard to do. Yeah.
all the young women and ladies and women and, whatever you want to call it.
We just need a new Leia. We just need a new Leia.
Well, that's going to be really hard. But I think that honestly, if we're going to do the doc, I think probably the best thing would be like 90s monster of the day or monster of the night or whatever sort of monster of the week.
So it's gonna be
TV special.
It's gonna be Agent Carter. I really didn't watch a lot of Agent Carter, so I can't make that reference.
Yeah, I mean something of that nature, but I think you could really explore the universe with her. I think you could explore a lot of relationships and everything. So I'm down. I think it could be really neat. I don't really know, to be honest with you, and I'm a little ignorant of this, like you, I don't really know the popularity of that among fans, so I can't really necessarily say that it will, go crazy, or even if this is really going to get off the launching pad.
The cool thing, though, with the timeline, what other characters we could tie in because of it.
Yeah.
Golden Age of the Empire, we could run into a lot of different people. We could run into, bring back Vader.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it could be very fun, and obviously Marvel, and this is the whole point of bringing old Kevin Feige in here, is that Marvel has explored a ton of superheroes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Ant-Man, have the power of an ant.
And the bee thing that follows
The
him
wasp.
around the wasp. Sure, the wasp, whatever.
Yeah, Wasp, and even well, I don't know. I mean, even to an extent, Black Panther, although they did a great job with that.
Marvel is very good about making a very obscure and minuscule character seem really important and just make him larger than life. So they could do this with any character from the Star Wars franchise, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely could. So it should be interesting to see. Why not? You could always use more Disney Plus.
Yeah. They're going to have to
content.
fill that channel in. Eventually, people will say this isn't really worth the $10 a month anymore. So they
I don't know about that. I mean, I think it all depends on how you look at it, though, because you're getting everything Disney. You're getting stuff from Fox. I mean, The Simpsons are coming on this.
Oh, really?
I mean, Disney purchased Fox, so
that's a big deal.
So I mean, you're going to have a lot of media on there.
As far as just a Star Wars fan, though, eventually someone's going to be like, okay, let's just see how much it costs to buy all of this outright, and how many years do I have to have Disney Plus till that just starts to be a money suck?
Sure, but I mean,
they're going to have to keep adding quite a bit.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the same thing as any streaming service. Seeing as Disney Plus is not going to be a cable substitute, it's just going to be content.
So for the people who already own, Netflix, say, Clone Wars, Rebels, all the main movies,
Resistance,
we got to get a lot to get those people in. For us, it's a given. We're going to get it. But,
for whatever $69 it was for a year,
it's well worth it for all the. I can't go get all 9 movies in a package bundle for that.
No,
and you can't even get the original 6.
True.
For that, so.
And then, I mean, we've got probably the last season of Clone Wars. Resistance is going now, and I've never watched Resistance, so that's probably something I'll do with Plus. And then the Kenobi series.
We got Mandalorian.
And Mando, which is going to be huge. That's another thing we're going to be going nuts over.
Hopefully multiple seasons.
Well, they've already confirmed season 2, so we've got at least 2 seasons of that. So I think it's going to be pretty eventful, but you're right. I mean, in the long run, you've got to continue to give content in order for people to find value in it.
And now the whole burnout phase is kind of past us. Now we want a lot for our money. So
true enough. So again, that could be a cool little series. I don't really know if that's what's going to happen or not.
Or is it going to be another side movie?
I don't think so.
I don't think you could really build the character in that amount of time.
I don't think the Doctor is big enough for a movie, but I could be wrong. Again, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. This is kind of a sort of a big one. So Benioff and Weiss are leaving. the Star Wars after their whatever extremely brief stay, they are leaving.
Could you even call it a stay? 'Cause
No, not
they really
really.
didn't do anything.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, they signed a big contract for Netflix to do something, and there was an interview, and I believe originally it was like a Patreon video for something, where they made some interesting remarks about Game of Thrones. I don't know if you saw any of that.
I did, but I'm kind of drawing a blank.
Yeah,
on it.
I don't remember a ton of what was said off the top of my head. I probably should have notated that a little bit better. But again, this is a little casual conversation. But they from their comments, it's like I get now why people are so angry about the final season. Now, I can't say the final season is one that I could watch over and over again. When I was in it, I was pretty excited, but I think it was
Going back logically, not having that
right.
emotion involved, it probably wouldn't be all that enjoyable.
It was way too quick.
Yeah.
We tried to shove too much, and then the ending was not quite as neat as you think it is.
It needed to be about twice the length it was. It was just a little too rushed.
Yeah.
I think we could have at least had 3 more episodes out of it.
You could have still had the ending, but just to lengthen
Spread
it out and
more.
explain
The
it
fight
better.
with the Night King and everything was way too quick and things of that nature. So
Yeah. So, and even Dany's madness, it just sort of seemed like it was way too quick.
flipped a switch and she
Right.
was the Mad Queen.
Oh, you won't be my husband, lover, nephew,
Brother thing.
my brother. So anyway, I was not particularly happy after that interview with these two, and I'm
I don't really think anyone was.
no, I'm okay that they're not in the universe, but the only thing that I'm not happy about is the fact that they were seemingly slated to bring forward the Old Republic or potentially even the origins of the Jedi, which I think would be something that we should explore.
But do we want people like that bringing that to us? That's the question.
Not anymore. I
Are
think
we
after
willing to
that, I'm good.
Are we willing to get what we want and it be low quality, or would we rather wait a little while
Well, and
until the fans scream enough that Disney says, okay, let's actually
Yeah.
put some real effort and money into this and bring the Old Republic back?
well, that's the thing. I mean, they were able to shoot a beautiful season of Game of Thrones. They made this series look stunning.
Yeah.
But
the content wasn't
yeah,
there.
the writing probably wasn't solely there. And I think, again, they were trying to rush out to sort of get out of the HBO sort of spotlight and do their thing. So
we'd have a wonderful battle with Revan, but is it going to be a true good story about Revan?
yeah,
Or any of the
that's tough.
Sith,
That's definitely tough. And I think the origins of the Jedi or the Jedi
The Jedi.
would be cool. I think that'd be cool to see. Again, I just don't know about movie format, but I don't know. Book?
Honestly, if I'm going Old Republic, I kind of want a TV series because I want a lot of time to build all the lore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Personally.
It's tough. I mean, I'd take a Revan movie or a Darth Bane movie.
Sure, but as far as that portion of the universe goes to build it, you kind of need, because not everyone going into that knows the Old Republic like us. They weren't raised in it, so there's a lot of lore that they need to get caught up on.
Sure.
Since they're not allowed to, listen to anything about the Old Republic anymore, or read the books or anything. It's
Well, you
just all-
totally can. It's not that you're not allowed.
You're not allowed. No, you'll go to jail. You go to Star Wars jail. You'll get
Disney jail.
You'll get.
I see you're back in jail. Been
get-
reading those legends, huh?
You read the legends, they automatically, discontinue your subscription to Disney Plus. Don't you know?
Oh no. Oh goodness, here we go. All right, so that was something. Again, I'm not broken up about it, but I think that's about all I want to talk about Benioff and Weiss today.
Yeah, they can just go away.
They have. All right, next up here. This is kind of well known, but we hadn't talked about it yet. So, Resistance Reborn is coming up here this week. I already have it set to download on my phone, and I've got the book coming.
I got 1 credit, so I'm excited.
Better do it. But we have Return of Wedge Antilles.
Wedge.
And
Best pilot ever. Other
the
than Luke
best
and Andy.
pilot.
My favorite pilot from all of the Star Wars. Is,
Oh, I like Wedge, and obviously we have more Wedge in our series we're reading now.
yeah, actually, we're about to
right
hit
there.
a pretty big spot with Wedge and
Yep.
his family.
Exactly. We're right there. And the other thing too is that they're talking like Wedge could be back in The Rise of Skywalker, which I think is pretty assured. But the actor who played him, which I believe is also Ewan McGregor's uncle or something of that nature, seemed pretty reluctant for a while to ever play Wedge again. But now looks like he's cool with coming back, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably see him in some sort of like generals type role or something to that nature.
Probably the same as what we're seeing him right now through our series that we're going through. So
yeah, more than likely.
We even have him. He's going to be a pivotal.
I'm the only one that can stutter here.
He's going to be pivotal enough that they've actually put him on the cover of the book, which is a very good cover, by the way. So
yeah. So
I'm very excited to see what they do with him.
Yeah, I think so, and hopefully we get some cool stuff with Wedge. Like I said,
and his nephew.
No,
please.
Nah,
he could really help right now.
Well, he could
First
help.
Order.
No, it just all depends on what you think about it. But yeah, I mean, in Legends, he had a nephew who is a pretty big deal, and we're going to talk about him in our reread.
Yeah. You want to just say what he is, or just wait for the reread?
He's a Sarlacc.
He's a human chiss.
Well, he's a human.
He's a human chiss.
He's not half chiss. He was just raised by the chiss. Oh shoot, what was his name again?
I just read that this morning too. His name is last name Frey.
Fell.
Ragfell. Is it Ragfell?
Ragged Fell.
Jagged
Fell.
Jagged
Fell.
Okay. We were close.
Ragged Fell.
The Ragged Fell.
Yeah, I had an article pulled up on him because we were going to do a profile eventually. But yeah, Jagged Fell is an interesting character, and that's totally not going to happen in The Rise of Skywalker.
No.
Because if we don't even get Thrawn, then we can't even get Jagged, so...
Hey, I know you guys want Thrawn. We're just going to give you a human raised by Chiss. Is that good enough for you?
Well, we also got actual Chiss, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a completely different subject for another time.
Next week.
Yeah, potentially next week.
It'll be the last week to do the reread before... We're not even going to get this reread done, this book done before the snowstorm hits of Star
Probably
Wars.
not. But anyway, yeah, Wedge Antilles coming back, Resistance Reborn. Look out for that because we're going to try and get through that as quick as possible and get that up, review of that. And because that's supposed to be pretty pivotal to what we're going to see in The Rise of Skywalker. So definitely look out for that. Next subject.
This is where I couldn't finish all the articles.
Lucasfilm developing Kylo Ren prequel with Adam Driver.
No.
Wow.
Do you want it? Do you need it yet? Or do you want to get a little bit more Kylo Ren content from books before we care enough to get a prequel?
Here's the thing. I actually don't think that this is a thing. I don't think that they're going to have an actual series, but we are getting The Rise of Kylo Ren in December, the comic series. And I think that is supposed to be interesting. And that series, get your phone away from the recorder. Away from the recorder. Come on, man. Further away from the recorder.
Sorry.
Yeah, my recorder is it's a great recorder, but it's super sensitive around the Darth's phone. It's got that dark side energy, and it just hates being around it, man.
Well, maybe we should get a dark side recorder.
Apparently we need to.
I'll go look them up on eBay.
Oh, goodness. Dark side
wait.
Zoom.
Our old recorder was clearly a dark side recorder.
It didn't buzz like that. It's the weirdest thing.
It's a good thing that's my recorder.
Which, I mean, and again, I'm sure you guys are totally interested in this, but our recorder, it's a Zoom H6. It's a great recorder, but every one that I've seen always makes that buzz noise. And it's just something internally that it just doesn't like. But anyway, it records fine. We just need to keep the phones on. So what was I talking about before you interrupted me?
We were talking about Kylo.
Oh, yeah, the dark side, the rise of Kylo Ren. We learn in there, we have learned here recently, and I'm not reading spoilers, but I did see the cover on Twitter. The Knights of Ren are not students.
Yeah.
They are a completely different faction that Luke and Kylo have fought in the past.
Yes. So actually, Kylo's nameship comes potentially from that, but we were thinking it was the other way around.
Well, what I'm thinking is that he was initiated into the Knights of Ren, so Kylo Ren, and they all have a something Ren.
Yeah. And potentially,
So he is a Knight of Ren.
He potentially could be the leader in a way.
Well, he's a Jedi. He's a Jedi.
He could have defeated the leader, or just the fact that he's a
right.
Jedi.
He's a Force user, and I don't think the rest of them are. No. So that kind of and then the leadership of Snoke, and I think that makes him the de facto leader. But I feel like they'll all have something Ren names.
The question
and that
is,
was just his given name.
Was he initiated before or after his fall?
It's a good. I think probably after. I would assume. I think I start to wonder a little bit about how Kylo rose, and I started thinking, because Luke tried to kill him.
Well, he was already battling with his inner demons at that point.
Well, first of all, Luke didn't try and kill him, but he did have a moment where he thought this is the only way to stop the darkness, in Ben. But just as quickly as that thought came, it went away. And then, of course, Ben drops the roof and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is I actually wonder if the destruction of the temple was like, all right, Ben, here is your initiation to becoming a Knight of Ren. You're going to destroy the temple of your uncle. So I think it was more to that effect. It was more maybe he was initiated in, because we all kind of have this sort of thing now where he had clearly been somebody. If it wasn't just Ben, probably Luke, maybe Leia and Han had been in contact with Snoke at some point or another. So I think as far as that goes, Kylo had probably been in contact with Snoke quite a bit, and it was just slow turn. And hey, I've got these cool dudes. They've got helmets and stuff, just like your grandpa. How did I know about your grandpa? Whoa. You could be a Knight of Ren.
Let's not talk about that yet.
I'm looking forward to that comic series, though. I think that should be a really neat insight look. Inside look. I said insight look.
Insightful look. You were close.
An inside look.
As far as who was in contact, I would lean more towards Ben's father, because Han actually references how, there's really no turning back for Ben, that Snoke already has his heart.
Yeah.
Luke never really references Snoke as much, so I think Han might have been the one to discover him or have contact with him.
Yeah, could be. We'll see. Hopefully this comic kind of illustrates a bit of that. I think Disney and obviously Marvel helping with comic is trying to get these stories out, because again, this is my biggest gripe about The Last Jedi, is that they didn't do a good enough job of answering questions. Yeah. They created more questions than they answered.
Which is never what the second movie should do.
Not in my opinion.
It really, he made his own first movie of a trilogy, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's just from my thought process, I'm hoping that we get some actual lead up. And I think Resistance Reborn might contain some stuff in it too.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll have to see when that all comes in the coming weeks. Mm-hmm. Next, Arctic Hole. And this one has actually sort of been disproven and debated a little bit, but I'm just going to... I pulled it up at the time. Star Wars Rise of Skywalker Walker will include at least one surprise return of Hayden Christensen reprising Anakin. And they also put a.k.a. Darth Vader, because we wouldn't know that. And Harrison Ford's likely too. So let's talk about Anakin. Do you think Anakin would return? Or should return? Or even can return?
In any form other than a flashback, I mean, that's essentially saying, do I want Force Ghost Annie?
What if...
And I really don't need that.
This was actually brought up by my good buddy Matt over at Hyperspace Hangout. He wants little Annie. What if we had... Little Annie showing up, or
that would be the most That would be the biggest waste of like 10 to 15 minutes of screen time for what we need from this movie.
Luke's just
little Annie.
Luke's just looking down at little Annie. And, Dad, hi, son.
I'm not evil yet.
It's me, your father.
Am I supposed to cut your other arm off now for
God.
telling you that?
What if they brought back like Jake Lloyd as he is now? Now, granted, I'm not laughing at Jake Lloyd because Jake Lloyd has had a horrible life. Ever since that episode 1, he's had a lot of terrible things, and he was obviously the point out of some ridicule, and he was just a little kid. I remember reading an article, just back in the day where it's like, yeah, they just give him Coke and almonds and little chocolates and stuff. He just run around. You just find him in random places. He's a little cool kid. And then later on in his life, he's arrested. He's got mental illness. Yeah. He's like psychiatric ward sort of deal. It's like, dude, he was this cute little kid. Just, it's working. It's working.
Yeah. And the backlash he got from the community was so unfair. I mean, he's just a kid again.
Well, that's why Star Wars fans suck.
He didn't try to ruin the persona of this character that we all grew up with. He was just doing his job. He was
an angel.
I mean, you can blame the writers for all that crap. He's not to blame for any of it. And he wasn't a bad actor.
No, he
was actually a really good kid actor.
I thought he did a good job too, but that really did kill it. So I don't know. I mean, so Anakin in the movie, I don't really know. I don't really know if I care.
Is there any point in this movie that we need to see Christensen back? I mean, do we really need that?
Again, though, using Hayden Christensen never made sense to me when they photoshopped him in to the that reissue of episode 6 because nobody would know who the heck he was because by that time he was an old man. By that logic, you should have replaced Alec Guinness with Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
By that logic.
The only logic you could really use is Anakin died when he became Darth Vader, and that's why they show him at that age. But I don't really like that because Anakin redeemed himself as Vader. He died in the light, so like, he would be older.
Oh, Dad, you look great. You look so young and lean.
The most logical thing to do in that sense would be to use the Vader actor, have burnt Darth Vader as the Force Ghost. If he died in the light as Vader, why would they change him to someone who still has hair and isn't burnt anymore? Neither of them makes sense.
Good call. I mean, I think we will see probably at bare minimum Force Ghost Luke. I wouldn't understand a Force Ghost Han because he wasn't Force sensitive.
Force user, so that wouldn't make no sense whatsoever.
Even though it's popular now to say everybody's Force sensitive, but he wasn't Force sensitive.
If we're going to have Han, I think it would be more like maybe you'd get an audio recording of Han.
Flashback.
Because he did do a lot of audio recordings just like Lando, so it's possible that he could have done that. As far as Anakin, you think we're going to see Luke and Annie side by side talking to Ben?
No, I mean, at best what I could see is like it could be like a head trick for Kylo.
I think it'd be something the Emperor would do against him.
That's one. If the Emperor's back, or if it's Snoke, or if it's some other bad guy, that's what I could see. I could see it being like a trick for him.
You think we're gonna see the scene where he slashes the helmet? There's a evil Force ghost Annie trying to get him to kill Rey or something. I mean, I get to an extent that it would make sense to have Hayden Christensen back because Kylo is so obsessed with his grandfather. For him to be able to get that interaction that he's been craving is a pivotal change in his character.
Sure.
So that would make sense in that respect. That would be the only reason I'd bring him back, to talk to Kylo.
Well, I mean, he was spotted with his daughter at Galaxy's Edge, so obviously he's coming back.
Yeah, there's no reason he would go there other than
he was like there completely alone. It was like, what'd you do? Set up a private tour for Hayden and his daughter? It was cute, though, that they had one picture where he was like handing her a little lightsaber and stuff, and it was kind of
Was it his lightsaber?
No, it was green. It was a green blade.
I'm going to let my other kid get stolen by Obi-Wan, here, take Obi-Wan's lightsaber.
It wasn't either of his like 5 different lightsabers he had throughout his life as he slowly grinded to his final
bad at
one.
losing lightsabers. Obi-Wan's going to kill me again.
he what the foreshadowing. Yeah. Obi-Wan's going to kill me. You're right. I will. Hello there.
And then I'll give your saber to your son, and he won't lose it like you.
But he'll stick it in his eye, or just don't push the button, Luke. End of
Luke,
show.
you almost decapitated me. I didn't give you the lightsaber to do that.
No, actually, it'd be the Imperial March at that point. He just, oh, what is this? Dun, dun, dun.
Obi-Wan picks it up. Well, I guess I'm the chosen one now.
Oh, God.
I'm going to go get Yoda, and we're going to F some stuff up.
There was another.
Well, maybe Leia won't be so stupid.
Oh, wow.
Alternate universe. Luke kills himself with the lightsaber and adventures with Leia and old Ben.
Oh, my God. The adventures of Ben and Leia. I mean, you couldn't even tell. I've always felt like I had a brother. No,
Brother.
You never had a sibling.
Let me take you to Yoda. Where is young Luke?
Don't talk about Dad.
He did. He's as stupid as him.
Another there was.
He's as stupid as his father.
Didn't you take him to Tatooine?
No.
Well, then why have you been there all this time?
I was chilling.
Meditation
Chilling.
and death sticks.
Mos Eisley, really cool place.
I can't even tell you how many arms I've cut off there, Yoda. It's amazing. I have a library of different species of arms.
Goodness. All right. Well, we're getting a little loopy here, and that was about it for the news. Aside from
we've
one
got
other thing.
the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah, so last thing here before we wrap up. So
You know that great, third trailer we had?
yeah.
What if you just completely ruined it?
What if it could be better? So I was on Facebook and I saw somebody post a like a fan made trailer, and it's like, well, it's better than the original. So I sent it over to the Darth, and he watched it just before here.
No, I had actually seen a little bit of that before. I didn't realize it was the same one at first, but really it's just garbage.
Well, what they did is they threw some Palpatine jabbering.
Kind of good Palpatine dialogue,
Even though he just said thous a lot.
Yeah, he's now, old Christian language.
It was kind of weird. Yeah. But yeah, so it was a little bit of dialogue from Palpatine over the trailer, basically making it a lot more about him and taking out a lot of the hopeful elements of the movie. Like the scene at the end where we see Rey just with her saber and she smiles a little bit as Luke speaks to her, and then you hear Leia say "always." That was completely cut out.
We don't have the epic little battle in the First Order ship between Finn and Poe. Just doing the amazing
running through the hallway,
and,
the slashing of the pedestal.
Dodge.
I'm telling you, there's something to that. It really cut out a lot, but then it added stuff like the back of Thrawn.
Yeah, and then we've got the
they added some of the D-23 footage,
and then we got the armada of Imperial destroyers.
That was the D-23 footage, and then they had like a like from I actually didn't stop to think of where that was from, but from one of the movies where a Star Destroyer comes out of hyperspace right there. So it's like all old tech looking and stuff.
And then we got the Battle of Hoth for some reason.
Was that in the,
yes.
Okay, I didn't rewatch
you had walkers.
it today.
There were 3 walkers.
Okay, I didn't rewatch it. Yeah, so it was trying to blend in other things, and I was like, this is supposed to be better.
This is how we're tying in the whole saga.
Yeah, and if you want to watch it, if I remember correctly, the YouTube page was like Grand Moff Tarkin. It didn't really ring true to me. It's clearly somebody who was trying to make more of an Imperial, more of a Palpatine-centric movie. I loved the trailer. I think that the trailer
couldn't have done
spoke to me a lot, and I hope that it delivers. But yeah, this much better trailer wasn't much better.
No. I was just waiting for something to happen that excited me, and nothing. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are kind of wanting to see Thrawn. I mean, I
The
wouldn't
Chiss
mind.
in general, I think.
Yeah, but I think it would be. I think it would be hard. I feel like it would be hard to tie that in. Not impossible.
That deserves its own movie or TV series, so I really don't want to see it tied in. Personally.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole thing is he'd have to ride his space whale back. Him and Ezra Bridger would have to ride their space whales back, and then
Too late. We should have done that in the second movie if we were going to do it.
space whales.
Can't have space whales in the end of a trilogy. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Grand Admiral Thrawn, but I think it would be cool if we did. I just think that'd be really hard to pull off.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's pretty much the end of that. We don't really have too much to talk about that, do we? That was dumb.
Don't watch it.
I didn't like it.
Don't watch it.
I mean, it's cool to watch. I mean, some people might really like it. I didn't really care.
Ultimately, either way, even if it was really good, it's not a trailer, so I don't really care. It's not going to
true
happen.
enough.
If I want a fan-made trailer, I want something that just goes over the entire saga and makes me feel like a kid again watching it the first time. I don't want a mashup from one trailer. No.
True enough. I mean, there's been enough fan-made trailers over the years, and I'm kind of cool on that. But anyway, I think that's about all the articles I had here today. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed a little bit of a quick news podcast, little casual podcast here.
Nice little news bomb after all this dry spell. So
yeah, we've got a lot more to cover. You're in for quite a bit here in the next few weeks, especially because when Mando drops, I mean that's going to be its own thing.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot.
Yeah,
so
very busy. Season coming up.
There's a lot coming up. So again, hopefully you enjoyed this. Let us know what you thought about any of the articles. You can hit us up on Facebook. Just search the Contingency Plan Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at TC Plan Podcast, or you can send us an email with any of your Star Wars stories to tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you want to support the podcast, you can hit us up on Patreon. We have our fun little Dinner with the Patron series there. I got to load another episode up on there sometime, and we've got to do a new one at some point too.
Time to go have a meal.
Exactly. But yeah, if you want to support the podcast, it's a good place to do it. Aside from that, please, if you would, leave us a review on iTunes, preferably 5 stars. If you have a 1-star review, you can send that straight to YouTube.
Where we just, it doesn't exist. I'll end this with one thing. What are you most anticipating on all these news stories? What got you the most excited out of everything we just went through?
I don't know. I kind of was equal reactory to about everything. I thought it was the Obi-Wan thing was interesting, or the Ewan McGregor. I mean, that he held on to the secret so long. That was probably the most interesting one to me. But
I'd say I'm probably most excited about Wedge being in Reborn.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool. I know not everybody's going to be super enthusiastic about Wedge, but
those are the people that are just wrong.
Everything. The issue is that you could miss him in the original trilogy if you weren't looking.
You could.
But in the book series, he's a much bigger character with a much bigger role, and that's why I kind of, I'm really interested to see what else they can do with him.
For sure.
Well, all right, folks. Thank you very much for sticking with us. Again, hopefully you enjoyed the episode. But as always, have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.